Hey there, quirky people! Today we're going to point our claws at a few amazing Wolverine details that you might have missed in movies. It's safe to say that Wolverine is everyone's favorite X-Men character, and that will never change, thanks to Hugh Jackman's iconic portrayal of the character for 17 long years. But now, we've got to look at a new Wolverine actor in the MCU. The arrival of Logan might take a while, as he may not appear for the next 2 years at least. But until that happens, let's reminisce the golden years of Hugh Jackman's Wolverines. We're going to present a few amazing details regarding Wolverine that you may or may not have picked upon. But before I get to them, I'd love it if you guys would hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon. Okay, so first up, we have this amazing detail from James Mangold's The Wolverine. Logan's death was foreshadowed in The Wolverine. The Wolverine is actually a very underrated movie. In my opinion, it would have been even better with an R rating. But anyway, let's not talk about that for now. There was a moment in The Wolverine where Yukio predicted Logan's death.
I saw you die.
What?
I saw you die.
She said she saw him lying on his back and there was blood everywhere, and he would have died while holding his heart in his hands. We were all confused by this prediction back when we saw The Wolverine. It only sort of came true in the film when Logan tried to remove Viper's bug from his heart. He did die for a few seconds over there, but his healing factor brought him back to life. Then, as everyone forgot about Yukio's prediction from The Wolverine, it came true for real Logan. After his gory battle with X-24, Logan was lying on his back and he was covered in blood. Right before his death, we saw him hold his daughter's hand. So James Mangold was able to put such a beautiful spin upon Yukio's prediction. Logan didn't really have his heart in his hand, but still, it was metaphorically true. The Wolverines reference in The Greatest Showman. The Greatest Showman is yet another beloved musical that Hugh Jackman starred in. It isn't compulsory for every Hugh Jackman movie to have a Wolverine reference, but since the character was so close to the actor, it also shouldn't surprise you to see certain Wolverine references in his non-Marvel movies. And the opening of The Greatest Showman had a Wolverine Easter egg, which I'm sure everyone would have missed. If you look at this frame, there's a little Wolverine detail in the corners of this border. Here, let me zoom it in for you. Do you see the arms and claws of Wolverine in this design? It's totally awesome. Logan kept Yashida's sword. In The Wolverine, Logan saved Yashida from the atomic bomb that exploded in Nagasaki back in 1945. As a gesture of his gratitude, Yashida presented Logan with a sword. And even though Logan had to kill Yashida sometime during the 2010s, the sword was still seen at his home in the year 2029. Logan uses his birth name. We saw Logan drive a limo in his final outing. But did you notice that the car was actually licensed under his birth name, James Howlett? It's a pretty cool continuity detail from the first Wolverine movie. The birth name was used in Days of Future Past too.
Many times, but...
Timmy!
The younger version of Logan had not gone through his adamantium experiment in the 70s, so he remembered his past and was still using his birth name instead of Logan. This was confirmed by the very first scene when Wolverine woke up in the past. The girl who woke up next to him called him Jimmy.
Many times, but...
Timmy!
The Preadamantium Effect in Days of Future Past. You must have noticed how the motorcycle was bogged down because of Logan's weight in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
You're heavy. Yeah, I put on a little weight recently.
He had just gone through the adamantium experiment, so his body became much heavier. But then we saw his younger self in Days of Future Past, where he did not have adamantium yet. Because of that, this table of the X-Mansion did not break when Logan landed upon it. That's some great attention to detail, don't you think? How Logan got his adamantium claws back.
Take them out.
Logan lost his adamantium claws while battling the Silver Samurai, but his bone claws had grown back. But people didn't understand how he had his adamantium claws back in the opening of X-Men Days of Future Past. The Wolverine ended with a confusing post-credit scene where Magneto and Charles had returned. Magneto had suddenly got his powers back and Charles was back from the dead. But what's even more confusing was the return of Logan's adamantium claws. It felt like a plot hole. But the mystery of these claws was actually solved in the pre-movie guide of X-Men Days of Future Past. It was revealed that Magneto had helped in restoring Wolverine's adamantium claws. Well, that's quite convenient. The metal detector. As Logan woke up in the body of his younger self, He found out that he hadn't gone through the adamantium experiment yet. It must have felt strange considering how he had the metal on his bones for over 4 decades. He had grown used to it, but suddenly it wasn't there anymore. That's why he was surprised when the metal detector did not beep when he passed through it. Otherwise, these metal detectors would always start to beep due to the adamantium in his body. The real reason why Logan's healing fades. Logan revealed that the adamantium in his body was turning out to be fatal in the long term. It had started poisoning him.
You're different, but that doesn't change the fact that something inside you is poisoning you. You've got to check yourself into a hospital.
And it began to hurt more and more every time he pulled his claws out. His healing ability had begun to fade away. But did you notice that this wasn't actually because of the adamantium? He was already too old in the previous X-Men movies, and he had the adamantium in him for more than 5 decades. So how is it that the metal had suddenly started to poison his body in Logan? Well, I have evidence that it wasn't because of his age. It was actually happening because of the mutant cure.
Yeah, easy asshole, put this poison in me.
In 2029, most of the mutant kind had vanished. They had either taken the mutant cure and turned into regular humans, or they had been hunted and killed. Logan lived for so long because of his regenerative healing, but it was fading because he was unknowingly consuming the mutant cure.
Where we came from. You gave it to us when you would fight, it makes you stronger.
Makes you crazy is what it does. It'll kill you.
The film mentioned that the mutant cure was so common in 2029 that it was even present in everyday corn syrup. So Logan had unknowingly consumed the cure through food products, and his healing began to fade. Adamantium was probably harming Logan's body right from the beginning. But his regenerative healing constantly maintained his healthy state. It did not allow him to die. It's the same as Deadpool's healing factor. It didn't cure his cancer, but it didn't let the cancer have any further effects on Wade's body either. Without his healing ability, the cancer would have killed him. Just like that, Logan's fading healing ability had stopped protecting his body from the effects of adamantium. The bullet wounds form an X.
Easy asshole, put this poison in me.
As Logan unlocked his rage mode and ran into the final battle, he took in a lot of bullets while taking down a bunch of soldiers. It was a great scene, and I'm sure you guys were focused upon his killings. But did you notice how the bullet wounds on his vest had formed an X? This was a cool nod to his past as a member of the X-Men. The legendary Wolverine cameo took 8 takes. Apart from the Deadpool movies and X-Men Dark Phoenix, Wolverine appeared in every other X-Men movie. He was the lead in 7 Marvel films and had cameos in X-Men Apocalypse and X-Men First Class. Among them, his best cameo was in First Class, where Eric and Charles approached him and he said,
Excuse me, I'm Eric Lensher.
Charles Xavier.
Go fuck yourself.
Did you know that even this little scene actually took 8 takes in total? It's crazy. But hey, we got a perfect scene, so we shouldn't complain. Jackman's flushed-away character had a Wolverine costume. Hugh Jackman voiced the character of Rhodey in 2006's animated comedy Flushed Away. But even this film had a Wolverine reference in it. Roddy actually had a comic-accurate Wolverine suit in his closet. And what's funny is that even Hugh Jackman did not get to wear a comic-accurate Wolverine suit in a live-action movie. There's a scene of the Wolverine where Logan was gifted his comic-accurate suit. But this scene did not make the final cut of the film. Jackman's dehydration. He got in great shape for every Wolverine film that came after The Last Stand. And for all the shirtless scenes in these films, he went through an extreme dehydration process. This process includes not drinking water for multiple days before filming the shirtless scenes. It allowed his skin to shrink and sit on the muscles really well. Besides his scenes as Wolverine, Jackman did the same for Les Miserables. Even Henry Cavill went through this routine for his shirtless scenes in The Witcher. It looks really good on film, but the dehydration process is extremely hard and sickening. Bodybuilders do it all the time. But even Hugh Jackman said that it's extremely dangerous and we shouldn't try it. Still, the kind of dedication and hard work that Jackman had put into playing Wolverine is commendable. Logan got his classic 80s style beard. In Logan, the mutant kids trimmed Logan's beard and mustache to give him his trademark Wolverine look. But what they actually went for was the classic X-Men comics look of the 80s. They did it because they read these books at the facility they grew up in. His jacket continuity.
Thank you.
I've placed the most obvious detail at the end. Most of you would have picked this, but still, I felt that it was a great continuity detail and should be a part of this video. We first saw Wolverine wearing his brown and orange leather jacket in 2000's X-Men, but then, X-Men Origins Wolverine actually revealed how Logan got his favorite jacket. With this detail, we've come to the end of the video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to check out more videos on our channel. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!